What up, boys, and welcome back to yet another video. In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about a question that I get asked often, and it has to do with farming in a new expansion. So I'm going to give my opinion on it and what I think people should focus on in the War Within, and of course, if it's too late, the upcoming expansions. But before we do so, massive shout out to everyone that has picked up the 0 to 10 million gold guide recently. It's been absolutely insane. And if you don't know what it is, it's pretty much a gold guide that will help you go from 0 gold to 10 million gold using all the best tactics and methods that I personally use in order to achieve multiple gold caps. It also comes with a lifetime of free updates. So whenever there's a new patch, a new farm discovered, even a new expansion, I update this gold guide and I send it directly to your email completely for free. So check it out with the link down below in the description, and don't forget to use the discount code STUDENT for 50% off. And a lot of you guys already have the gold guide, and if you do, and if it's helped you make a lot of gold, consider signing up to the VIP Discord, which is pretty much like a Patreon, where you get to watch all my YouTube videos before they go public on YouTube, but you also get access to exclusive content in forms of gold tips, spreadsheets, investments, and much more. But that's also linked down below. So what makes a new expansion good? And keep in mind, this is very important. We're talking in terms of gold farming. And don't confuse gold making from gold farming, because like all the big boy goblins who makes multiple gold caps throughout the first week, they don't really farm anything, right? They just have a giant army of toons. They're doing like daily cooldown crafts. They're buying materials into like an actual item, selling for profit, and they're doing it big scale. But what makes an expansion good in terms of gold farming for me personally is, of course, a well-functioning gathering system. Like, it needs to be fun in order to do herbalism and mining, for instance. And also the prices needs to be decent, so there needs to be some sort of way to combat the bots. And I think with dragon riding, sure, you can turn off dragon riding, but you'll have a big advantage with a specced out tree, like a profession specialization with dragon riding, above the people that use a bot. So I didn't have an issue, a big issue with with the Dragonflight Gathering, but I think it was way more fun looking back at something like Legion. Legion just, it felt more fun whenever you picked up a fox flower and you had to follow that fox to pick up the flowers, or when you were spawning basilisks while mining, or when you were, for instance, getting like the double procs on an herb that you picked up. There's just something about Dragonflight and the War Within Gathering where whenever you're finding like a specialized herb, you're just, all the effects of that is pretty much just gonna annoy you, right? There's a lot of annoying shit. You get frozen, you get thrown away by the wind. It's a hassle. It doesn't give you that good feeling of finding or that RNG feeling whenever you're picking up an herb. So I do miss a slightly more element of RNG to herbalism and gathering. Skinning for me personally has taken like a turn in the wrong direction. That's because Blizzard allowed us to do group farm skinning. Skinning was so great, all up to Shadowlands, like all the way up to Shadowlands. It was great because it was like one of the best ways in order to make gold solo. And it was just so damn solid. But now the meta of skinning has shifted. It's kind of pointless to do one-man skinning in the open world because the prices are going to be adjusted to like the fact that people can do skinning in a 2x4 farm. And if you have 8 people killing mobs, like obviously they're going to get way more materials than you, and obviously they can post the materials for cheaper than you would have doing it solo because you're getting way more. So you're kind of being forced to do a 2x4 skinning farm, a group farm, in order to make serious gold, and it won't compete with something like mining and herbalism unless you do one of those group farms. So I know a lot of people are kind of sad about that you can't just go out and chill and farm on your own pace. At least not expect to make as much gold as you would have if you did it solo in Shadowlands, BFA, Legion, and so on. So that's kind of a bummer. But when it comes to open world farming, I think this is where Blizzard really can make it and break it. And by the way, this doesn't affect only people farming gold, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this video. And we're of course talking about open world farming, like what are you farming in the open world? Dragonflight was, frankly, there's no hiding it, it was absolute dog shit. If you really break it down, the only thing we were farming in Dragonflight was materials. Like, that's it. You were either doing cloth farming to get cloth. You couldn't get any epic BOEs. They don't exist. And then you were farming for like elementals, like materials, like rousings. That's pretty much it. Like, sure, you could get the Skyclaw mount, which was a secret mount. You could farm the items for that. But that was also like materials. You would farm materials. People would buy them on the auction house so they could get the Skyclaw, the secret mount. And that's pretty much it. The only other farm that we did, and that categorizes as an open world farm, was it was just materials, just cloth. Some people did skinning farms as well. Skinning was okay, but it wasn't close to something as cloth farming or rousing farming early on. But there was very little element of RNG. So the only element of RNG that you would have would be if you had enchanting, and you could get those items that you could disenchant, which dropped as green, blue, and epic. But that was the only RNG that you had whenever you did a gold farm. And if we look at like the previous expansions that we've had ever since the start of World of Warcraft, Dragonflight was the first ever expansion to not have open world BOE items. And like, I understand the aspect of why Blizzard decided to do that now, and that's because the new crafting system. They wanted people to work with and deal with the new crafting system, placing an order, etc., to get their epic items, and they didn't want people to just go out on the auction house and purchase them on the auction house. But still, like, they could have still made some really decent starter gear. The crafting gear could have been better than the open world BOE items. Like, no problem whatsoever with that. But the fact that there was no epic BOE items at all kind of sucks. Because we're used to farming something like BFA, where not only do we have epic BOE items in the open world, which, by the way, not only gold farmers are doing. Like, as people reach max level, which they do in a matter of hours, right? They just wait around for the Mythic Plus season to start, or a Mythic raiding, and there's so many people, including like top tier raiders and people doing PvP, that was like, shit, might as well go and farm some BOE items. They're actually enjoying it. But then we also have something like BFA, where not only do you have epic BOE items, but you also have a mount. One mount for each zone that can drop from humanoid mobs. Absolutely great. Everyone loved it. Gold farmers loved it. Collectors loved it. It was just the nicest feeling ever, doing a quest or a world quest, whatever, and boom, you happen to get an epic BOE mount while you're doing it. I think it's absolutely great. And looking at previous expansions as well, there's always been epic BOE items, and there's always been a bunch of collectibles that you'd be able to farm. Like in Classic, you could farm a bunch of different battle pets as well. The old whelplings like Emerald Whelpling, Crimson Whelpling, Bronze Whelpling, Dark Whelpling, you know, like all these whelplings. TBC had this exact same thing. You have Wrath of the Lich King, where you had a lot of toys you could farm on top of that. There's just every single expansion, there's been a lot of collectibles that you've been able to farm. Gold farmers love it. Casual people just playing the game love it. And of course, collectors love it. So I do think what's going to make or break how good the War Within will be, gold farming wise, will be basically what kind of collectibles will we be able to farm. Like, we already know that there's going to be cloth farming. You got to go tailoring, farm cloth, go inscription. You can get Dark Moon cards. You can do skinning farms as well in the group. But will there be epic BOEs? Is there going to be something like the temporal Skyclaw mount, where you can farm items to get a secret mount? Is there going to be something like the magma shell in order to get the magma shell mount, right? We don't know all of that yet because we're obviously trying to hide a lot of it and the sources on how to obtain a lot of stuff. But I'm just thinking that if the Water Within drops out and the only thing we're farming is materials, obviously you're going to be making a lot of gold if you hit the best spots fast, but the longevity of it, it's not going to be good. Like, it won't last for that long. Even Shadowlands was really good because you had, first of all, professions were really good in terms of farming, like gathering profession, skinning, meat farming, all of that. You had epic BOE items, and they even added like another set of BOE items with a higher item level. And I think that's the way to go. Whenever you're getting new content, like a new raid with increased item levels, and you can craft new PvP gear with an increased item level, they should also scale up the base item level of World Drop epic BOEs, so they will always stay somewhat relevant. They shouldn't be best, by no means, but they should always be increased. It's kind of pointless having a item level 400 epic when you can easily get some catch-up gear that's going to be 450. So that's pretty much my thoughts on the War Within, if I think it's going to be a good expansion for gold making. A lot of it relies on the RNG factor and the collectibles. Will there be any to farm, or are we stuck with farming cloth and, well, pretty much materials? So please let me know what you think. And Blizzard definitely don't watch any of my videos. I don't think so, at least. If they do, I hope they will take this to heart because it's evergreen content. I think that's the aspect you got to look at it as well. They've done such a great job in Dragonflight, like re-adding a bunch of items that were previously removed from the game with Naxxramas and Scholomance, Solgurub. There's even a lot of open world items. So you have a good reason to go back to older content. Like, we're still farming in BFA zones to get the mounts, right? We're still farming in TBC to get epic patterns and plants and transmog items. And I just don't want, like, the next expansion, the War Within, to be an expansion where the zones are pretty much going to be useless after the expansion is done. So by adding like farmable battle pets, farmable toys, mounts, you name it, you have a reason to go back to these zones like 10 years from now, and there's going to be something of value that you can collect or sell on the auction house. But yeah, hopefully that summed up some of the questions that I have. Do got a plenty of videos similar to this one talking about gold making, what my plans is for gold making, how I'm going to go at it, which professions, which tune. It's like all of that is coming in the next couple of days. So if you want to see those videos, just make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and you'll be notified whenever those videos drops. And yeah, with that being said, don't forget to check out the 0 to 10 million gold guide and the VIP Discord, and I will see you all back in at tomorrow's video. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.